I'm Damo, and we're at Sheffield watching the Steel Dogs. You're watching Post to Post.
Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video because we're talking about something that we've been pretty passionate about the past... since the channel started, really. We like to talk about countries that aren't Canada and aren't America when it comes to hockey. There's a ton of other leagues around the world, like the EIHL in the UK, and the SHL in Sweden, and the Finnish Liga, and the AIHL in Australia, I think. And
the KHL.
There's so many other leagues. As North Americans, we're so blinded by the NHL and the AHL, we don't kind of realize some of the other good hockey that's happening around the world. And a lot of the jerseys that you see behind us come from leagues that have really good hockey. And we've been blessed with followers on this channel who are in these other countries like Scotland and Finland and Sweden and stuff, who send us the stuff and who talk hockey with us about hockey in their country. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to have the conversation that's kind of silly because it's not really plausible at the moment, but what if the NHL had a division in Europe? Where would those 8 teams be located within Europe? What are those 8 best cities? Now, this has a bit of subjectivity to it because I'm going to pick the cities. These are the 8 cities that I think are going to work the best. It doesn't mean that these cities are the best cities. There's probably someone out there who can look at the map and probably pick better cities than me, but this is just the 8 cities that I would pick. And this is just for fun. Don't take this seriously. It's just a fun exercise, a fun conversation. You don't know the 8 cities that I've picked, so it's just kind of whether you agree with me or not, or whether this may work. This is something not for next year, not for 5 years from now. If it does happen, it'll be 20, 25 years down the road because it's not realistic just because of travel times and stuff. You can't expect a team that plays in California to end up playing a team that is located in Russia somewhere and then turn around and play another team that's in New York. Or it's just not plausible at the moment. I'm sure it can be worked out, and that'll be a discussion for years and years down the road. But for now, we can kind of theorize and just have some fun with it. So, are you ready to hear my list?
I'm ready.
All right. So I've got 8 teams here because each division now has 8 teams. Well, whenever Seattle joins, every division is going to have 8 teams. So the first one on my list is I think there has to be a team in Finland. Mm-hmm. Finland is massive for hockey. A lot of the NHL greats right now are Finnish. So I think Helsinki is probably the best choice as far as the city goes. It's the biggest. It's located in southern Finland. So that works out travel-wise and stuff. So Helsinki would be one of my picks and is my pick in Finland. Do you have any other cities in Finland that you would choose, or would you not choose Finland at all as a...
I would have to choose Finland.
Yeah, you have to choose Finland.
Because so many of the NHL players now come from Finland.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fair to them to not have a home team, right? The only question mark, and this will be a question mark I have for a lot of the cities that you will likely pick, is what kind of infrastructure do they have right now? Mm-hmm. In Helsinki, where they have the Hartwall Arena, which is the biggest arena in town, and it only has, I think, in the order of 13,000 or so, 13,500. Mm-hmm. Typically, the NHL needs at least 16 or 17,000 to make it work financially.
Yeah, I think the Bell MTS place has like 15,900 or something like that.
And that's a special case, smaller than usual arena. Most arenas in the league are in the high teens. They're 18,000, 19,000. Montreal has 21,000 plus, but it's Montreal.
Up there. Chicago's up there as well. I think they're close to 22,000.
Well, Montreal's the biggest.
You sure?
Absolutely positive.
I thought Chicago was the biggest.
I'm positive.
You just dropped a pen.
I did
you're
a pen
serious.
Drop. I can't drop the mic because it's worth too much money. So that's what we're looking at in the NHL. So in Europe, probably these arenas would need expansion or replacement to make it work in a financial sense.
Okay.
But let's forget that part.
Yeah.
I would agree with Helsinki.
And me, just for off topic here a little bit, but kind of on topic, me picking these cities, I don't expect only Finnish players to play for these teams. Like, it's going to be like the NHL. There's going to be different nationalities playing for these cities. We'll still be rating you for Finns
and we'll send you some Canadians in Helsinki to play hockey.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how it's got to be.
Second on my list, if you have Finland, you have to have Sweden.
Absolutely.
So I would probably pick Stockholm. It's the biggest city. It's the biggest possibility for fans and stuff to fill an arena. So that would be my pick. I can't see a situation where Finland gets a team and Sweden doesn't, or Sweden gets a team and Finland doesn't. If you have one, you kind of have to have the other because there's so many great Swedes in the league as well. So those, to me, those two are 100%. Like,
yeah, Stockholm has the bigger arena. Malmo has an arena that's just a little bit smaller. Good hockey culture there as well.
Yep.
And Malmo might draw some fans from Denmark who just come across the bridges there.
Because Copenhagen's just across the way there.
So that might be a draw there, but I wouldn't disagree with Stockholm.
Okay.
For your choice.
Sounds good.
Yep, sounds good.
I'll put a check mark next to that then.
You do that.
Next, I have Moscow in Russia.
Do you?
Because that is technically part of Europe, and Moscow is on the western part of Russia. So it's not that far away from the rest of the other typical European cities. And the KHL is probably the second biggest hockey league in the world. So I can't see a situation where Moscow or Russia isn't involved in this league or this scenario. Like I think they have to be there. So I would pick Moscow just because it's the biggest city, and it's probably, if Russia as a country had a decision, it'd probably be Moscow.
I think that's what you might have to do, is you have to go to Russia as the hockey federation itself and say, we want to put an NHL team here. Where would you like it to go? St. Petersburg is a good candidate as well. They have an arena that's actually bigger. The Ice Palace there is slightly larger than any of the rinks in Moscow, although Moscow certainly has a bigger population base to try to fill whatever arena that you would use. Then there's also the option of a team playing in more than one city.
Yeah, maybe.
We have seen that happen a little bit, or more than one arena, like the Islanders now, currently playing in 2 different arenas.
Yeah.
So that's not an unheard of option.
And I have a situation here that kind of plays into that a little bit with another city.
Alrighty.
I talked about Finland. I talked about Sweden. Kind of skipped over Norway, but I have it on my list.
Do you?
Hockey's pretty big in Norway, so I do have Oslo on here as a potential city. I don't know what they have for an arena currently, but I think that...
I don't know.
Geographically, I think they're in a really good position based on some other teams that I've picked here, some other cities. So I would personally include Oslo on my list. And, that's all I got to say about that. Now, the EIHL is pretty big in the UK, and I think they 100% deserve to have a team in this division of the NHL potential in this scenario. The question is, what city do you put it in?
That's tough.
Because there's a lot of potential cities. Someone would say, well, put it in London. That's not my choice. I did not pick London. I personally picked Manchester.
Did you?
I think Manchester is the best. It's located north of London. It's kind of in between London and Glasgow, a little bit closer to London than it is Glasgow, I think. But I think it's located in a good spot. The population is right. They already have a team there. The Manchester Storm, I think they're called.
Yes.
And I don't know. To me, that's my pick. But there's lots of other cities that would be a great pick in the UK.
There would be. I wrestled over this too. There has to be a team from the UK in the league if there's going to be a division. The biggest currently arena in the entire EIHL is the Belfast one, where the Giants play.
Really?
And by quite a margin. The Belfast Giants have the Odyssey Arena. It's 11,000 people, which still is far short of what they would probably need to have.
Yeah.
And it's harder for fans to get there because it's an island as opposed to something you could just hop on the train and go for most places. So that might make it a little more difficult. But if the Belfast Giants have the fan base draw that they must have to sustain an arena of that size, they might be a good candidate for consideration for the NHL. I don't disagree with your choices. London is so huge, but the competition for the sports fans' attention in London is extreme.
Yeah, and that's something I thought about as well. There's so much other things going on in London that...
Yeah. It might be hard for NHL to be the special thing it needs to be.
Exactly, yeah.
To have that loyal fan base over a long period of time. It might be easier to develop that in a place like Manchester or a place like in Scotland, Glasgow or Edinburgh. Glasgow in particular, I think, would have a better sports culture.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of distractions there too. So I agree with you on a choice for the UK. We can decide later where we want to put it.
Sounds good.
All right.
Next up, I have Berlin in Germany.
Yeah.
Hockey's big in Germany, really, really big. If you've watched the previous the Olympics that just went by, they made it to the gold medal game. I mean, hockey is huge in Germany. You don't really think about Germany being a typical hockey country, but they play a lot of hockey in Germany, and I would pick Berlin. I think that geographically it's a little out of the way compared to most other teams. Most of the other teams are kind of closer together, but it bridges the gap between a few teams like of Moscow, and then you have some other teams here that you'll see on my list. I made some decisions based on where cities were to help travel and stuff, so I would pick Berlin.
I think Berlin would be a great choice. My choice might be Cologne, because it's got a bigger... Cologne is probably one of the few places in Europe that currently has an NHL-sized arena.
Oh, do they really?
They do. They're the biggest arena in Europe, actually, is in Cologne. And they have over 18,000 people that they can put in there. So,
well, there you go.
It's called the Lanxess Arena, and I don't know how big hockey is in that part of Germany, but if they have an arena that's that size,
yes.
and somebody built it fairly recently, I'm guessing it's probably pretty good. So, like some of the other choices you've made, I don't disagree with Berlin.
Yeah.
Germany definitely has to have a team. They're producing some outstanding players these days, and that needs to be fostered, I think, and furthered by more interest from the NHL in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very good.
My seventh team is the kind of the combo team I was hinting at earlier. I wanted to have a team in the Czech Republic, or Czechia, as it's called now, apparently. And I also thought Slovakia could probably support a team as well, but they're so close together. I thought they'd share a team. So I know,
well,
I understand. I understand.
They didn't really like sharing a country.
No, I know, I understand, but
that was kind of forced on them.
I think that I would pick Prague as the team.
I would pick Prague too. I just think it's got a better urban core.
Yeah.
Not better, but bigger urban core.
Yeah. There's already hockey there.
There's already hockey there, and a good-sized arena. The Oz Arena is over 17,000, so they already have as well an NHL-sized facility that could just be plug and play, and away you go. Prague, there have been a lot of great Czech players, and maybe when it comes to sports, the old national or intra-national rivalries aren't as bad as we would think. But I could see the case where a Slovakian player might say, "Don't even try to draft me in there. I'm not going to play for you guys." Maybe, yeah.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, there's some... History's not that long ago when it comes to the former Czechoslovakia, so that was never a marriage of... It wasn't like the Czechs and the Slovaks got together one day and said, you know what, we should form our own country. It didn't happen that way.
I like how your accent is always the same there's like 50 countries where your accent's always the same. Your Transylvanian accent, your Turkey accent, now your Czechia and your Slovakian accent, they're all the same.
Like, it was more like Moscow said, yeah, we're going to put you two together.
Yeah.
And what? So
tough.
And it goes back hundreds of years even before that. Anyway, enough of that. Geopolitical. One thing I do know about both the Czech Republic and Slovakia is they make amazing hockey players.
Yes, they do.
And for a long time, they did play in the same team and did very well.
Yeah.
Back before the country was...
you have to include that area this scenario, I think.
Got to.
I
agree.
The last one for me was a bit tough. I felt like there was some, I really wanted to, I thought Copenhagen would be a good spot because it's, geographically, it's kind of in the middle of all of these, and it's close to Stockholm, and it's in a really good spot. Even if Malmo was in there, can you imagine the rivalry between Copenhagen and Malmo?
It'd be tremendous, yeah.
But I chose Bern in Switzerland because
I agree.
Even though Switzerland is a very small country, and it's very small, and compared to a lot of these, it produces some absolutely incredible hockey players. And hockey is huge in Switzerland, as many of us know if you've watched the Olympics or the Spengler Cup or anything like that. So I think Switzerland has to be in this, and I would choose Bern.
I agree. The Post Finance Arena, which is the main arena in Bern, has over 17,000 seats in it.
There you go.
And it's ready.
Boom.
Just plug it in. Light up the logo. Drop the puck. Away we go.
Good
so
stuff.
We're good. I totally agree with Bern.
I have some other cities on my list that could be other possibilities. I'll just run through them quick. Copenhagen was one. Warsaw in Poland, potentially. Glasgow, Riga, Latvia, Hockey
Right.
is huge in Latvia,
Mhm.
and Riga is a big hockey city.
Mhm.
Malmo, which we already talked about, and Minsk in Belarus.
Of the list you just went through, Minsk was the one that I had that you hadn't talked about.
Okay.
I think the Minsk Arena, it's already got 15,000 seats in it. Belarus has some pretty respectable hockey history as well.
Yeah.
I think that would be a smart choice. In fact, they were on my 8.
Yeah, hockey's huge in Minsk, so
Yeah.
good work.
Yeah, I had the Czech Republic, Switzerland, Belarus, Germany, Sweden, Finland, and Russia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I think I had Oslo in there maybe. So, or no, yeah. Anyway, Belfast, I guess, was the other one I had for the UK. I had to have something in the UK.
Yeah, now this is based on 8 teams. The current, well, not the current, in 2021-22, it'll be 8 teams per division. If this did happen, it'll probably be 25 years from now, and the divisions might have 10 teams each. We don't know. Kansas City might get a team. Houston might get a team. There's so many other possibilities of places that could get teams. We could see an NHL league that has 40 teams in it or something like that. Who knows? So there might be 10 European cities. We're just basing this on the
Sure.
current.
And right now, it's not unheard of for an NHL team to go on a road trip that could be as much as 8 games long.
Yeah, oh,
So
absolutely.
let's say there are 8 teams in Europe, and the Boston Bruins take off, and they land in Belfast after only a flight of maybe 5.5 or 6 hours.
Same thing as flying out west.
If they were flying to LA, it'd be the same size
Yep.
flight. So then they play Belfast, and they hop and they hop and they hop, and over the course of, let's say, 2 weeks, they play 8 games, and then they fly home.
Mhm.
And the European teams all did that. Not every team would get to play every team, because if you're going to play an 82-game schedule, which I think is excessive anyway, then not everybody gets to play everybody twice, maybe once, maybe not at all, depending on how it shakes out.
Yeah, because if you have 32 North American teams plus 8, like there's no way teams can play each other twice or a couple times, or maybe at all. Like you might not see Los Angeles play Moscow. It's the 2 farthest points basically of what we're talking about. So that might not happen. So
Right.
it'd be an interesting scenario to lay it all out, lay the schedule all out, to see if it actually would work. But it's not unreasonable.
It isn't these days. And if you look at soccer teams, and it's certainly not the degree of travel, but you have the FA Cup, and you've got the Champions League, and you've got the Europa League, and you've got teams that play within their own league, but then in the middle of the week they blast off from, let's say, Chelsea will go and play Dortmund in Germany, or they'll go to Rome and play Italy or Milan, and then they'll come back home again and play in the weekend. We're only talking the distance of Chicago to Charlotte maybe here, but it's not impossible. And as air travel gets more tolerable with Boeing 787s and other better planes for climate control and less fatigue, less jet lag, and if you're staying in Europe for 2 weeks, you'll eventually adjust to the time pretty quick.
Yeah, you will, absolutely.
So
and I mean, we've already look at what the NHL's doing right now, going into Sweden to play some games, going into Finland to play some games.
And not just exhibition games. These games count.
Like NHL, like seasonal games.
Yeah.
China even, like last year they had a game in China, and there's I know they're trying to grow the game as far as fans.
Trying to grow the game. Well, if you want to grow the game, put your money where your mouth is, boys and girls.
And we're hearing rumors of London possibly getting an NFL team maybe in the future.
They pack Wembley for NFL games.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, we're kind of going in that direction where these sports are becoming bigger than anyone maybe thought that they would ever be.
Sports are becoming bigger. The world is becoming smaller.
Well, and look at the other way around. Soccer in Europe is huge and always will be huge, and it is the main sport over there. Soccer was always very low tier in North America. Look at the MLS now. It's absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Soccer could have already passed the NHL as far as profit and fans and stuff. I don't think it has yet, but it's right there. Like, it could. It's kind of scary, but it's a major sport in North America right now. So
well, and you look at cities that don't have hockey, but they do have soccer. Kansas City is a great example.
Yeah.
Sporting KC is a very successful MLS team, and the probability of getting Kansas City in an NHL division in next near a little while is 0.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Kansas City sports fan, they like the Royals, they like their Chiefs.
Yeah.
now will they like Sporting KC and forget about hockey?
Yeah.
I probably would if I was in KC.
And Atlanta as well. I know Atlanta had a team, an NHL team before.
Yep,
Two. Actually.
two.
But
Yeah. So, yeah, it's time to
never know.
time to step up.
That's right.
Yeah, right on.
Thanks, guys, for listening and watching this video. I know it's a bit of a silly conversation, but it's a fun conversation to have, to theorize and just kind of discuss this stuff. It unfortunately, we won't see it anytime soon, but you never know. We might see it someday, so that's why we have this conversation, just for fun. So thanks for watching and tuning in. We really appreciate that. If you can hit the subscribe button down below and catch us for all kinds of conversations like this and our podcast on Sunday and fun ranking videos and just general NHL and hockey talk, that would be awesome. So thanks for watching once again, and we'll see you soon. Adios.